Welcome to Rocky Springs, future home to the greenest community ever built.
Do you know why they call me the King of Green? Because I love this planet.
So you're gonna take out the whole forest?
Yeah!
But we're replacing it with a shopping mall with a forest theme.
You're watching The Film Fix. I'm Jonathan W. Hickman, and this is Jeff Marker. And this is the show that each week Jeff and I go to the local theater, and we see the movies that are playing in your neighborhood. This week, Jeff saw Furry Vengeance, I think, unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we just both took in A Nightmare on Elm Street, the new re-envisioning of the 1984 semi-horror classic from Wes Craven. Jeff, what did you think of Furry Vengeance?
Do I really have to talk about it?
Well, unfortunately, yes. That's one week we had to say kick-ass, and we said it many times, so sometimes we're obligated to say things.
Yeah.
We see movies we don't even like.
So you don't have to.
That's right, that's right. Okay, Jeff, tell us about Furry Vengeance.
So the setup is this. Brendan Fraser is this sort of corporate lackey who is in charge of a development in the middle of a wooded area. They present themselves as a green company, yet they're leveling whole forests. And so he's an eco-hypocrite, and they use that term over and over and over again, just in case you missed it the first 20 times they said it.
This is an opportunity to do something good for our family and for the environment.
How is ripping out the forest good for the environment?
The only thing standing in the way are the locals.
Miley Cyrus!
And so he moves his family, his wife and his teenage son, from Chicago out into the middle of the woods, and they're upset about it. But much more upset than his wife and son are the animals who live in the woods. And so they go after him in any number of predictable ways for about an hour. An hour we watch those animals go after him. Meanwhile, no one sees the animals attacking him, so they just think he's going crazy. And it really gets to the point where I just couldn't wait for them to get to the point where he's going to turn around, become more earth-friendly. I'm not giving anything away. You're going to see this in the first 5 minutes. This movie's a terrible waste of time. It's by far the worst thing I've seen this year, and I think it's going to take a real effort, a conscious effort, to make something even worse than this.
The animals are out to get me.
And what animal are we talking about?
There's more than one of them. I think they're in cahoots.
This is insane!
Shut up!
So, Jeff, you didn't like Furry Vengeance, I take it.
I didn't make that clear before? No. This movie, it's written by the same guys who did Mr. Woodcock, that other piece of cinematic mastery. And this is an embarrassing movie for Brendan Fraser, only because he's on screen most of the time. But it was Ken Jeong, who's in a bunch of the Judd Apatow. Yeah, usually he's
every
great.
time he opens his mouth and goes, he's hilarious. I don't know why, but
well, he's a pretty bad stereotype of Asians in this movie. Even speaking like gibberish. It's not Japanese or Korean. It's not a language.
You know, last year we had the Chipmunk movie, The Squeakquel, and that movie was dreadful. However, it had a kind of a not a magic to it, but a charm to it for the little bitties. I mean, is there anything there?
Maybe, but I'll be honest. I think 6-year-old might be too mature for this movie. They use a gag with the skunk spraying Brendan Fraser's character 5 times, and so even the little ones are probably going to get tired of the jokes.
So you didn't get your fix from the Furry Vengeance film?
I didn't even pay for it, and I wanted my time back. So it's just not worth your time at all.
Well, and the one thing is, this movie did look bad in the trailer, so it really, I don't know that you need us to review it in order to have an opinion as to where the movie is going. But anyway, we took in A Nightmare on Elm Street just a few minutes ago.
Right, and so why don't you tell us a little bit about the new Nightmare on Elm Street?
I'll be happy to.
Hello? Anyone here? Hello?
If you keep falling asleep, they're going to kick you out of here.
Sorry.
This new movie is directed by Samuel Bayer, not Wes Craven. Of course, the characters are inspired by, or at least created by, the original Wes Craven film, and he's given credit for that. But he has no involvement in this new film. Stephen Bayer is the director, and this is his first feature. The director, Stephen Bayer, is the one that brought us Smells Like Teen Spirit, the music video from Nirvana. He also did Blind Melon's No Rain. I think both of those frontmen are no longer with us, so that's sort of ironic. That's why it is so surprising that this film seems, at least for most of the film, to not really have much style to it. It seems to be a bit repetitive. What we get is a slash from the very opening scene, and it continues throughout the entire movie with very little development on why Freddy Krueger is doing what he's doing, even though there is some effort to get us to that point. To say I was disappointed by this film is a bit of an understatement. It does exactly what any other horror film that's either been borrowed from Asia or has somehow been redone from the 80s. It's a series of boos, and that's probably the worst thing about a horror movie, that it doesn't bring anything original to the table.
Okay, so Jonathan, did you really care about the characters in this movie?
I don't think that the story invests enough in the characters for us to even know who they are, more or less care about whether Freddy gets them. That's one of the problems with the movie.
Yeah, and he doesn't really get to be menacing until very late in the film. And up until then, you know, I'll just spoil the movie for everybody. When it gets quiet, someone's going to jump out at you.
I remember distinctly that the original film there turned a corner when the hat was brought back out. Mm-hmm. And I think that was, I haven't seen the film in a long time, and viewers can email us and comment on YouTube about whether I'm right about this, but when the hat came into the picture, into the real world, then things changed. Then there was this whole idea that maybe this is something you can beat. The way the film develops over at least an hour, and I looked at my watch, it didn't seem like there was anything these kids could do. And the mystery of it was so broadly handled.
And they really didn't capitalize on merely having parents in the film. The parents do almost nothing. Even when, you know, they start to reveal the mythology, like you said, the parents are just non-factors. And to me, that was one of the sort of found, you know, the integral to the premise of the original, and they just sort of missed the boat in this one. Yeah. So am I safe in saying you didn't get your fix this week?
I didn't get my fix from it. I sat there and I wanted it over very shortly after it began.
Yeah. And to be honest, I almost fell asleep, which is pretty ironic in Nightmare on Elm Street. So I guess we recommend rentals this week?
Yeah, I guess. You know, and somewhere Girl with a Dragon Tattoo is playing. I mean, that's a worthy film to see. Again, last week I encouraged people to skip The Losers and see Kick-Ass, and no one took my advice. And so I guess maybe that's another opportunity to take in Kick-Ass. Next week we're going to see Iron Man 2.
Which you're all just waiting for anyway. This officially sort of kicks us into summer season next week, right?
Exactly right. And I have to say I'm very excited about Iron Man 2. It's got all these great actors, another, you know, Mickey Rourke incarnation, perhaps another reboot of his career, and, you know, who knows what's next.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, we came up snake eyes this week. I didn't get my fix from Nightmare on Elm Street. Jeff, you saw Nightmare on Elm Street?
No, I totally agree. Not interested at all, actually.
And Jeff, we already heard from you about Furry Vengeance. Brendan Fraser tries mightily again, but
misses the mark wildly. Yeah.
No film fix, but of course you can always read more of our reviews, and you can visit us on the web, dailyfilmfix.com, where you can feed your movie addiction.